Hi Harold, I'm going to show you my bait tank project. Probably doing it in reverse. You probably should have seen it from the beginning and not the finished project, but the idea all along was to set up a big bait tank, and I wanted to get a cow tank, a water tank, like a 250 gallon tank. And to do that, I came across a used commercial bait tank that the old bait shop down here in Batavia, when they closed down, it was just setting. It needed to be replumbed and everything needed to be reworked, but you know, the shell is there. So basically I started with a shell. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I got insulated covers on it to do a couple things. Keeping the water cold is very important with keeping minnows alive. So basically, I wish I had some bait in there to show you, but to make a long story short, I got about 130 or 140 gallon tank here. I replumbed everything on it. I got an intake right here that goes down, goes through a 1,500 gallon an hour pump, real quiet pump, comes through. Comes over here to my pre-filter. It's a regular pre-filter I got for a bargain at the Aquascape garage sale, if you will. So it filters out the small particles. Basically, you pop it apart and you take a garden hose and wash out a foam filter on it. It's about as easy as it gets. Comes back out of there, comes back. It's a plastic 55 gallon tank with the top cut off. This piece of PVC comes down to the bottom, then tees off one way and the other way, and it has an angle, so it sprays this way and sprays this way and keeps things circulated. This much of the tank, there's a screen right here, so sediment would build up on the bottom, which I won't get because I got a pre-filter. And from here to here they're called bio blocks. They're a small square, 2-inch square, like a sponge block, which hold bacteria. So this is my biofilter. The bioactivity takes place here. There's another screen. It comes up from there. Gravity brings it out, brings it back to the tank. So not only am I picking up particles and debris in the water in the pre-filter, but the biological filter knocks down the ammonia and cleans the water, basically. So that's the filtration system side of it. I've got, for aeration, I've got a Min-O Saver. Basically, it injects oxygen into the water. It's kind of loud. I'll just turn it on here for a minute. Sucks air down the tube, the little fan blade down under the water, infuses it into the water. Great way, a lot better than a bubbler. Great way to introduce oxygen to the water. So we got the tank, we got the pre-filter, we got the filter. Then you come over on this side, another intake comes down, goes through a similar pump, 1,500 gallons an hour pump. Comes over, you can't see it, underneath there is a homemade chiller unit. I got it with the tub. It pretty much had to be rebuilt too. It's basically the guts of an air conditioner and the canister that the water goes through the canister and it chills it. Don't have it on right now because I don't have any bait. To make a long story short, if I plug it in here, I've got a thermostat on it with the thermostat that comes down and comes into the tank, so I can set my temperature for my water at 65 degrees, say 60, 65 degrees, a real good temperature for keeping minnows alive. The colder water holds more oxygen than warmer water, and it also, they eat less because they're cold-blooded and move around less. They just stay alive much longer. That's the key to keeping bait alive, is to keep the water cool. So anyways, if I had it on, I got a thermostat. Basically, it goes through this chiller and then comes back in through this. And on that end, there's a inline too. So the cold water comes back in there, warm water goes out there. Cycles it until it comes to whatever temperature, and then it shuts it off. Got an overflow here. If I were to come home with a bunch of bait and dump it in and there was too much water, it would come up on the overflow and go down, and I got it plumbed out and it goes out the back of the garage and has a cage on it so the chipmunks can't come up and in. Also have a overflow pour here. If I wanted to pump it down and throw a sump pump in here, I could just put the discharge right here and pump it out. It goes to the same line. Insulated it. The tank has got 2-inch foam insulation, the Owens Corning wafer board insulation on it, and the spray-in expanding foam to fill any joints and cracks, and then I wrapped it in this insulating blanket as I did the other biological filter. So the principle behind it all: keep your water cool, you keep it covered to keep evaporation and to keep the temperature down with the insulation underneath it on the sides and on the top. You run aeration when you need it. I run this 24/7. It doesn't take hardly anything to run that little pump, and it's constantly cleaning. And I really should get some bait in here to put some debris, some fish waste in there to feed the bugs, if you will, in the biological filter. You seed it, that's how you get it going. Got some bacteria tablets. Once a week you throw them in there, and the bacteria colonize in the small pores. But ultimately they need fish waste to live on. Had bluegills in here a week or so ago, and Adam and I used them up and just haven't made the time to get out and restock it. So that's my bait tank project. Catfish Keith signing off.